Uwe Jacobs, property strategist from Property Friends. I'm sitting here with JD from Cairns Property Office. Thanks for joining me. We are in Cairns, and JD and I had a discussion about why do Property Friends think that Cairns is a hotspot and is a magnificent place to invest. So we were chatting, and JD, of course, is the BDM, Business Development Manager. Sorry, don't use terms. Business Development Manager for Cairns Property Office. Chin wagging, as one says in Australia. And we thought we might as well put this on a video because it is great information for everybody out there. Is that okay with you?
100%, that's good.
Fantastic, thank you. Maybe I kick it off. Why is Cairns a great spot to invest? Property Friends has been investing in Cairns for 21 years now. The fun part about our business is that we are not location dependent. So in 2003, we did the first project, ran it through till about 2007, then went and played ball elsewhere. Because playing ball in Cairns, i.e. property investment, wasn't going that good. Now, about 5 years ago, we identified that the market was going to come back and experience a nice growth. That's what we thought. Time has proven us right. So, the situation in the Cairns market at the moment is as follows. Rental vacancy is under 1%. Good for investors. The land situation, land is very hard to get. Builders are very busy. Builders are blocked up and penned up with orders. Trades are just about nowhere to be gotten. So the bottleneck that has established itself over the years has led to a big resurgence and increase in house and land packages, especially also caused by the first homeowner scheme. There is, of course, some news in the first homeowner scheme in Queensland, and that will further advance investment in Cairns. The last projects that we have done turned out beautifully. I can't say it any other way. The capital gains on the purchase value was 25%. Now this is in 2.5 years. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to work out that that is extremely good money. The gross rental return now sits at 7.2%. I don't know about you, but I think they're pretty darn good figures.
That is very good. And I'm assuming you're referring to Cutters Rights?
Well, that's exactly right. The company that we are talking to, Cairns Property Office, actually does have a development on the southern side of town in Gordonvale. I say southern side of town, is that strictly speaking correct? Well, it is its own...
down the southern corridor.
Yeah, it is its own township though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Anyway, it's by the locals, it's part of Cairns. So yes, Cutters Rights is a magnificent development. One of the very few developments where the blocks are quite big.
Yeah.
We have in our portfolio a couple of 1,000 square meter blocks, a couple of 800 square meter blocks, 700 square meter blocks. Although I understand that the blocks are getting more compact. We won't use the word small, compact. In line with building cost and land cost. To purchase a 1,000 square meter lot these days is just too much money. I'm rabbiting on. I wanted to get some feedback from you as the BDM for property management, if it's okay with you, to say a couple of words about what's important in property investment and property management, moreover.
Yeah.
What tips can you give our investors?
Yeah, so I think it's important to know what type of product is good to have in the market, and for specifically speaking about the ones that we've done with Property Friends in Gordonvale, it's quite a unique setup with that 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom properties, which is not your standard home that you would find across Cairns, and Originally, when I went to go and appraise it, I thought this is a really lovely home, but it might be a bit of a niche. But we actually got it tenanted quickly, and we secured, I think, a great rental on that. Just recently on one of the properties, we got a lease renewal for $800 per week, which is magnificent prices for Gordonvale. I think a few years back you wouldn't think it would be possible to achieve that kind of rental return. So yeah, I think having the right product is very important. Obviously if you're looking at the city, there wouldn't necessarily be demand for something like that. I would say your apartment with a nice view, good location is probably more specific to the demand that you would find in the city. Yeah, so pretty much the product would be important. And I think doing your homework, so working with the right property manager and getting feedback from what's going on currently in the current market. It does change all the time. Along with Uwe, engage with the property manager, find out what type of properties are in demand, what's the current days of market, work on a marketing strategy in line with, let's say, building completion, so you limit the time that the property is vacant. I think all of those things are good to consider.
Actually, I'd like to thank Cairns Property Office and specifically JD. The guys have been really good in helping out when we had a building inspection. JD was good enough to go there and check out what was going on, opening the house and things like that. So I can only emphasize the point that JD is making. Look for a good property manager. The difference is not in 1% management fee. Let's be clear about that. Let's put that in relationship. $500 a week, 1% of that is what? $5. Now, if you have a property manager that rents your property 1 week earlier because they're organized like these guys, because they're starting the marketing campaign before the house is completely finished, so that we can keep the vacancy really low. And this is what you guys do really well, and JD has been instrumental in that.
Thank you very much, Uwe. Yeah, I think that is important to have that conversation during the building phase and know exactly what type of dates we are looking at. We found that having a property 1 to 2 weeks, pretty much about the 10 days mark, just before completion, just before it's ready to go, that still gives you enough time to get some traction on realestate.com, get a good amount of inquiries, and we can start booking the inspection for straight after it's completed. Otherwise, when you start the marketing only on completion, you're already on the back foot, and you're probably looking at another week at best before you can get someone in.
I get often asked, what are the biggest challenges? What are the 1, 2, 3 points that are important when renting out a property? Would you like to comment on that?
Yeah, I think obviously with your property specific, which is new builds, it makes it a bit easier because condition wouldn't necessarily be an issue. What does make it easy, let's say with working with a company like Property Friends, I guess, when we're getting all the warranty documents along with when the building is completed, it makes it easy. So if there's any issues moving forward, we've got access to all the documentation. We can handle, let's say, a dishwasher that breaks, still in warranty, we can get that done for the client with the least amount of hassle. I guess going into the property while they're still in that building phase, in the completion phase, things that you could look at is potentially, and we've had that with other builds, blinds might be, you have to have blinds or curtains before the property can be leased out legally. So what we want to make sure is that there's a lot of the times there's a backlog on blind orders. So if you're looking at 3-4 weeks before you can get the blinds installed, you want to make sure that you make that as close to completion date as possible. All of this small things in preparing the property in the right way, where you can work hand in hand, let's say Property Friends and ourselves, to get the best possible outcome for the landlord is important. I guess the other thing is, on a new build, you would want your property manager to stay on top of the inspections. Brand new product, you want it to be taken care of. So we would do inspections at least every 3 months, and we normally make sure that photos and that inspection gets to the owners, and you also have a platform where you can access that photos at any time.
And that's actually a great service that the Cairns Property Office provides. You don't get 5 photos. That proves nothing. The guys in the Cairns Property Office are very skilled and very experienced. Thanks also to Margaret, the rental manager. She's doing a fantastic job. And that is making the difference of making good money or money and working hard for it. If you've got the right party on your side, like the Cairns Property Office, life is easy. I like easy. All right, I often get asked, why Gordonvale? 20 years ago, 21 years ago, 22 years ago, whatever, being new in the city, my wife and I, my wife is my biggest supporter, and she is the omen that tells me what's going on. We went northern side, southern side, northern side, southern side. In my view, and in our research, and we've done properties in both areas, they are somewhat different though. The northern side is historically the more affluent side. It is historically and location-wise closer to the beaches. The area does have, and when you follow the statistics, and we are driven by the statistics initially, it does have a higher rental vacancy than the southern side, with the southern side typically being a bit cheaper, or cost-effective, I should say. That makes it easier to fund an investment property over there. What's your view on that?
Yeah, I think things have definitely changed. I do think that the northern side does attract a certain demographic or a certain person, where the southern side has got a different
feel, really.
Yeah, like it's the beach as opposed to maybe the mountains, and a bit of more of a laid-back country feel towards it. I think as time has gone, like really the traffic coming in from the northern side, we're probably looking at 20 to 30 minutes anyway. Even though Gordonvale is further out of the city, you can get on the highway and it goes much quicker. So you're probably looking at pretty much the same time in peak traffic. I think the beaches is probably, in my opinion, and maybe you got more stats on that, but I would say it's more owner-occupied opposed to the southern side. And definitely over the last few years, we found that investors have definitely targeted the southern corridor, just because you could have bought a property for much cheaper opposed to in the northern beaches. And really, when you're looking at the type of rental return that you're getting, a 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom, and this is very generally speaking, in the northern beaches, there's a Smithfield around there, you're probably looking at about 650 to 750, and you could get that same prices where you could not ever have even compared to products. So I do see why investors are looking out towards the southern corridor. And other than that's where all the development is happening. We've got a health precinct coming up there where they're going to have doctors, physios. We're going to do, there's a coffee drive-through going to be there. All Life Pharmacy will be set up there. We've got all those new blocks coming up. We already established a few blocks there with great returns, as we mentioned. I know they're putting up RSL. There's other proposed land developments happening there. So really, there's so much growth in Gordonvale happening that I can't see that same type of growth going out towards the northern side, because it's just not, going towards Port Douglas and all that.
And it's landlocked, really, isn't it?
There's no space there. Yeah. So I think it just makes sense that things would be going to the Gordonvale, and I think that's great for Gordonvale.
Really, to use a big word, the gentrification, the change in circumstances. When I see a McDonald's coming up in an area that we have targeted for an investment, I get excited. Not about buying a hamburger, But as many people know and is spoken about, McDonald's is in the real estate business. They can do a lot more research and they have a lot more data than I will have in a lifetime. Because they have specialists that look at population growth, that look at traffic, and that is, I think, what made a big difference to Gordonvale, the duplication of the Bruce Highway. Now, according to council, it will take you 12 to 17 minutes to go into the Cairns city centre. Now, with the northern parts, that is hard to do because it is often gridlocked and it is often hit with a traffic jam. Similarly, and this is why I love Gordonvale and I don't make any qualms about it, to get from the back parts of Edmonton, Bentley Park through Middle Road or the other way out to the highway takes 15-20 minutes. By that time, although Gordonvale is further out, you are definitely faster in the city of Cairns than from the back blocks. Is that right?
Yeah.
You are local.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm just thinking easy access to the highway is what makes Gordonvale quite attractive to anyone.
A new shopping centre.
Yeah.
And I hear on the grapevine, so there's a Woolies with, 6-7 specialty shops.
Yeah, so there's a Woolworths been there now for a while. So the Woolworths is there, a few other restaurants. Like I mentioned, they're planning to put a RSL close by in there. They're doing the health precinct. There's chats of independent living, aged care facility.
Yeah.
So all of those are very exciting stuff happening in Gordonvale.
And you can also see, in my view, the township of Gordonvale is changing. It really is blossoming. And hey, that works for me, because that means that more people will be in the area, live in the area, rent in the area, and that's what we want. Okay, thanks very much for listening and watching. I hope you found it informative. Thanks, JD. Any questions in regards to the property investment side of things, feel free to go to our website, www.propertyfriends.com.au. At the end of each page, you can ask for a discovery call. Happy to have a chat for up to 30 minutes. No cost, no obligation, no hidden tricks or whatever. I just love talking to people about property investment in areas where we are prepared to put our own money. That is the benchmark that Property Friends has. Anyway, look, stay in contact, be in contact, and subscribe to the newsletter. That's about all.
Thank you very much, Uwe. It was nice.
It's been great, thank you.
So just on that as well, if you wanted to get hold of Cairns Property Office or myself, you can contact me on 0402 885 606. We would be happy to give you guys a discounted rate on your management in line with what we offer Property Friends. We do have a really good relationship with Uwe and his investors. I'm so happy to have a chat to you. Thank you.
That really goes both ways. Thank you to you and your team and the great work that you do. It's fun, and that is important. Thank you.